Hi, beautiful soul. This is Hanneke from Twin Soul Alchemy. Welcome to this channel on blossoming on the twin flame journey. In this video, I'm going to explain the third energy, the energetic field that is being created between you and your twin flame. And I'm going to discuss it in depth, and I will describe it in terms of physics, psychology, and spirituality. So before I go into the link between physics and psychology, I would like to say that the way that I see the twin flame journey is that when twin flames initially come together and have this soul recognition, in these early days in the bubble love phase, there is a fusion of the 5 bodies. I've talked about these bodies before in my video called Layers of Love, so if you're interested in that, I will put the link up so you can watch it. But in these early days, these 5 bodies, the spiritual, mental, emotional, etheric, and physical body, they fuse, and with this fusion, there is a third energy that is created between the 2 twin flames. And this third energy is a co-creative divine force. So it's this third energy that twin flames have created together that causes this friction. The friction is what causes this pull and the constant thinking of your twin flame. And it's also the cause of the initial separation or multiple separations. In the initial separation, there is a purging period that starts within these 5 bodies. And that's when the inner work starts. And when the twin flames are able to eliminate what is in the way of this third energy, then the union jumps to the next level and they can begin to use the third energy to create. So as I'm explaining throughout this video, it's important to understand that the twin flame journey is a spiritual awakening. It's a journey that is guiding you towards living your life as a divine being from the awareness of your higher self. And that is living the life that the soul drives you to live. But it's not only that. It's not only a catalyst to put you on this awakening journey. There is also the opportunity to start co-creating together here on this earth plane. And the creation with this energy is exponentially bigger than what you can create by yourself. If you're on the twin flame journey yourself, which I would assume because you're listening to this video, then you know that it's a cyclical process. And so there are moments when you're purging and there are moments when you get together and you can feel and sense this third energy and even start creating from it. A lot of divine feminines that can sense spiritual energies can pick up on this third energy without physical contact. And when there's still friction in your own energy field, then this can be hard because you're constantly feeling this connection and it's constantly creating friction with your own person, with your own energy field, asking you to release and release and release. And that's why it's so hard for divine feminine or the feminine energy to focus on something else. Because most of the time they can feel this connection, and it's only through surrendering that you can stop the uncomfortableness. So let's translate this third energy into physics. When I'm talking about this, I'm using concepts from physics, and there have been experiments trying to prove a lot of these theories and concepts that I'm talking about. Some of the things that I will be talking about are scientifically proven and other things are not yet proven. I'm actually not concerned anymore whether it's been proven or not. I'm just using the language, the concepts to explain what it is that I'm sensing. But it is interesting to give a framework and to give words to my experience, to our experience. So if you're going to the basics, you could say that our universe is a living, connected electromagnetic organism that is made up of all the lights we can and cannot see. It is continually changing its shape and expression in a continual dance of destruction and creation. And as we are part of this universe, we are also a living, connected electromagnetic organism made up of light, continually changing shape and expression. Our universe is holographic, and we are fractals of this universe. That means that we are on one level what the universe is on another level. What happens within us is also happening within the universe, as above, so below. It's a macrocosm and a microcosm. Our human biofields are like a fractal rendering of the Earth's magnetosphere and the Sun's heliosphere. Every cell and organ in our body has its own field, in addition to being part of the group of field of the human body. We can say that we're all little ecosystems living within a larger ecosystem, structured the same way at each level. And so we can also experience our twin flame connection like that, as a fractal of our larger part, and we can experience ourselves as a person, as a part of this organism that is a twin flame connection. Everything in the universe behaves like that. We can completely zoom in and completely zoom out and see the same thing. There are actually really great videos about this on YouTube. So if I can find one, I will put the link in the description. And you can see that when we zoom completely in to the level of the atom or even deeper, that everything behaves at the same way as if we completely zoom out of our solar system, out of our galaxy and the complete universe. So you can consider the unit that you and your twin flame create. It's also an organism in this vast ocean of clear light through which all waves travel in a field of infinite potential. Because the thing that connects everything in our world, in our universe, is a unified field or a 0-point field. We can also call it ether. But it's an ocean of clear light that electromagnetic waves arise in. They travel through it and then they dissolve back into this field. It's the source of all energy. And this ocean, this ether, has the ability to polarize itself into positive and negative charges. And they start to dance in a spiral, which is called torsion. That's how it spins itself into plasma, and plasma spins itself into gases, and then into liquids, and then into solids. So you can see how we can go from an infinite possibility towards matter. And the way the universe organizes itself is through sacred geometry. And you could say that this is the underlying architectural blueprint of creation. Ether arranges itself into basic geometric wave patterns as it spins itself into matter. And it's the repetitive patterns of these geometric shapes that fit into each other and can be scaled to any size. That's what we call fractals. So you can actually call them the fundamental building blocks of life. And this all seems very theoretical, but they are the building blocks of your connection as well. And this knowledge can help you deal with what you're experiencing. The physical human body has an etheric template in the shape of a torus that channels etheric energies into increasingly dense and charged energies and ultimately matter. Ether is the finest form of subtle energy, but within the human energy system, everything from the finest ether to a diffuse plasma is what we call subtle energy. And by diffuse plasma, I mean an electromagnetic field where waves are formed in geometric patterns information. And even though that our aura or human biofield has some sort of membrane that protects us We are constantly connected to the universal etheric body, and we are constantly interacting with other electromagnetic fields. Think of the influence of the moon and its phases and other celestial bodies and events. We are constantly connected at all times to everything in the universe because our consciousness is non-local and part of a vibrating electromagnetic soup of the ether. So we are linked with everything outside of space and time. And that means that at any given point in time or in space, we as an organism can rearrange ourselves to connect with another frequency. And we can actually control this ability through our intention. And this is called a quantum wave collapse. So to connect to a certain frequency through your intention means that you are connecting to something that is beyond space and time. This is actually the way that physics is explaining the twin flame connection. With our intention, we can at any point in time connect with another electromagnetic field. It's easier when you've met in the physical plane at some point. And it's easier when you have the same frequency as the other electromagnetic field. So it's possible to connect with other people as well, of course, but it's a stronger and easier connection when you're vibrating at the same frequency. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this electromagnetic field that we are in order to be able to link it with the psychology and link it with how we'll be able to deal with this, how we'll be able to purge and heal our energy fields so we're ready for union, we're ready to co-create. There are studies that prove that we need our electromagnetic field to maintain a sense of coherence, of togetherness. And if the electromagnetic field collapses, then we collapse. You could call the electric current or the electricity that runs through our field prana or chi. It's our life force energy, and it's running through certain energetic channels in our body, which are called nadis. And the chakras are the epicenters of this energy flow, and they are like transponders of particular frequencies. The most important nadis or energy channels in our body are the Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. The Sushumna is our central channel, which is electromagnetically neutral, and it travels vertically up and down the spine. And the two others, the Ida and Pingala, they start on the left and the right hand side, and they twirl through our body, through the chakras. And the one is positively charged and the other is negatively charged, and they represent the masculine and the feminine energies. And we also see this positive and negative and masculine and feminine energy in our twin flame connection. You can actually find this spiraling motion in everything in nature. It's the way water flows, it's the way that our blood spirals through our veins, and it's the way energy flows within the thorax, the aura, the human biofield. When we look at our human body as a battery, we can see this positive and negative charge as well in the Earth star and the Sun star energy centers. The Earth star brings up what we call the ascending current, the negative charge from the surface of the Earth, and the Sun star brings down the positive or descending current from the Sun and the stars. To get our body primed and amplified, we need to amplify the main current that travels along the center of our being. And you can think of it as activating our inner lightning rod. Being anchored in the central channel electromagnetically is to be centered in your own being. And when we look at our twin flame connection, what we have to do is centering in our own being, so we can take up our own role within this connection, whether it's a positive or a negative charge. Yet at the same time, we have to connect with the center of the connection. And So even though that you might be the positive or negative charge of the connection, in order not to feel swayed by it constantly, you have to anchor to the central channel of yourself and of the connection. And this is where the challenge is, because it's already very challenging to center in your own being by finding a state of neutrality and by constantly releasing emotions. That's a challenge that every human being has at this time. But the Twin Flame Connection invites us to anchor our consciousness in the center of that connection as well. And that means that we have to learn how to overcome our personal will. It means that we grow spiritually and raise our consciousness so that we don't attach to the perspective and the will of our personality. And now we're getting closer to see how the Twin Flame journey is a really great teacher to become the best version of yourself, to become the divine expression of the universe. Because in the first phase, the friction between the dirt energy and our own aura forces us to heal our field, to stop energy leaks, to reintegrate parts of yourself that you have lost along your human journey. And from a spiritual level, we can call it reclaiming lost fractions of your soul. But from a physics point of view, it is proven that healthy organisms emit coherent light, and dysfunctional cells emit chaotic or non-coherent light, so chaotic waveforms. And when an organism is under stress, it emits more biophotons that results in a loss of order and integrity throughout the system. So we leak out light as a result of stress and trauma. And we leak out, but this doesn't disappear. It remains in our field, and through resonance with higher vibrations, with higher frequencies, we can return it to its rightful place in our body. So it's actually the connection that is forcing us to deal with incoherence in our system, so that ultimately we reclaim our power and we can start to participate in this really high vibrational unit that is a Twin Flame Connection. When we link this with psychology, it's important to recognize that we experience being human through our emotions and thoughts, and of course through our physical body. And an emotion is actually a waveform, an electromagnetic phenomenon that gives rise to chemical and psychological changes as well. So you might know that an emotion can have an impact on your heart rate, on your muscle tension, on your breathing rhythm. So it's actually energy that is affecting our physical body. And different emotions, of course, have different chemical composition. And these chemical composition are our body's way to create molecules that carry the vibration of a particular wave throughout the body. So that's how we can see that emotions are actually magnetic and thoughts are electric. Magnetic fields guide electric currents. So our feelings or our emotions are primary and our thoughts follow. And when we work with our emotions, we're shifting the magnetic fields, which is then shifting the way that the electric current is running through the body. So working with our emotions also shifts our mental patterns and processes. And as we release stuck energy in our energy field through experiencing our emotions and letting them go, we are healing our electromagnetic field, and we become a better antenna or transmitter of energy, and we become stronger. Emotions and magnetism, by the way, are associated with the feminine, the yin principle, and electricity is associated with the masculine yang principle. The magnetic field is diffuse and all-encompassing, while the electricity is more of a focused charge. And so you can see that at this level of just experiencing and letting go your emotions, you can shift the balance of your own electromagnetic field. You can shift the balance of your relationships. And you can even shift society and humanity creating more room for the magnetic part of our lives, for emotions, and creating more room for the feminine, for emotions, intuitions, the yin principle, nurturing. And this also helps to dial down reason and logic, which are of course also necessary, but are now over-engaged in our society. It's also the way that we can balance out our Earth and our universe, creating magnetic insulation, nurturing the magnetosphere, creating the feeling that we are being held by the Mother with the capital M. So in short, it's not our thinking that we have to change, but we have to address our underlying feelings. If you have all your vibrations in phase with each other, in inner alignment, inner unity, then you become magnetic and you start to attract whatever you want because 100% of you is on board with it. So the more that you can create coherence, the more that you can attract and the more that you can balance everything out. It's actually also what we're doing as spiritual beings. We are evolving from the 3D dimension with its emotions that are less coherent to 5D feelings. And emotions like fear and shame and guilt vibrate at a very low level and they create incoherence in your organism. So if you express them and let them go, you become more and more coherent and you become more and more powerful. And the great thing is that beyond a certain threshold, every additional energy that is pumped into a system provokes a unison vibration of molecules. They're starting to attract each other in the most organized form of a condensed phase, which is called a BoseEinstein Condensation. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly as well. So studies have shown that there's actually a tipping point where you're starting to become more and more unified in an organized system so that everything within you is working together. You're transcending polarities and you can see how that can also happen in your connection. So instead of operating as different polarities with their own consciousness, at a certain point, you start to operate as one unit, with each part of the unit expressing their own role and purpose in the connection. And you can see that by learning how to do this in your twin flame connection, it is a stepping stone to do this with the whole universe and everything in life. So it's a stepping stone teaching you how to raise your consciousness to the level of unity consciousness. In a way, you're actually becoming the other person. You stop being in relationship or in relation to the other person. You become them by transcending your own personal boundaries to the point of merging in a wider field. And that includes both of you in a ternary unit. So both units, you and the other person, are transcending into a third unit. And this doesn't mean that you disappear, but it means that you anchor in the center through contact with your own essence. So there are two things that are very important in order to be able to surrender to this connection. And the first one is staying true to your own essence. And the other is being able to center. So it means that you become the observer. You stop identifying with what is happening in your life. And in this process, you stop giving too much importance to yourself. You learn how to soften your personal importance, how to become humble, how to recognize the other person as a path companion. You learn how to have the willingness to drop control and defense and the willingness to get to know them for who they truly are, not the way that we think they are. And we learn the willingness to understand the other person's needs and to leave behind our projections. It means to abandon yourself to existence with trust, and it means to surrender to the other without feeling defeated. It means to lose yourself in the other without getting lost. And It means to be ready to empty yourself in order to fill yourself with the other. And you can see how that can be challenging for us human beings with these patterns of fear of abandonment, fear of commitment or engulfment. This doesn't mean that you give everything up for the other person. In fact, what often happens is that the feminine energy gives up her power. So she loses herself in the other person, which undermines the whole system, because then there is no negative and positive charge anymore. So yet again, it's actually up to the divine feminine to create this magnetic field where electricity can be received. And so when you do this, then together you create a vessel where this third energy, which is sometimes also called the Holy Spirit, so where this Holy Spirit can reside and operate from. The Holy Spirit in alchemy is called the aspect of the creator that creates. It's the creative essence of the creator, and it's within the sacred heart that it resides. It's the place where you start to feel unconditional love. So you could actually say that the combination of these masculine and feminine electrical charges generates a powerful force that is called love. So when we take a look at Kundalini, the Kundalini that is always so very present in the twin flame connection, we can see that when the masculine and feminine energy of the same frequency meet and connect, there is a power that ignites, a power that unifies these two. So you could actually look at a Kundalini awakening as the stages that this twin flame connection or this third energy goes through to heal itself, to become this vessel for divine love. A Kundalini awakening, of course, doesn't only happen in a twin flame connection, because as with everything that I talked about in this video, it all happens in your own organism as well, because of the principle of the holographic universe. So you could say that a twin flame journey is a way to spiritually awaken, yet at the same time, this powerful force that gets generated through connecting with a twin flame is next level. It's the next level on how to co-create with this beautiful universe. The twin flame connection and journey is deeply, deeply intertwined with everything that exists. And it can be very confusing, but you're actually learning to become open to the mysteries of life. And we will never be able to grasp and define everything that we are experiencing. And that's the most beautiful part of it, because when we define things, we limit ourselves. And so it's very important to always remain open and in contact with the experience of life itself. And from there, you'll be able to create what you cannot even imagine yet. I'm curious if this resonates with you, to stay in the vocabulary. Is this what you're experiencing as well? And what kind of phenomena do you experience that are hard to explain to other people, the rest of the world? I love it if you would share it in the comments. And I would also love it if you would like this video, if you like the content, and subscribe to my channel. That truly helps in spreading the messages more and to help more people on the twin flame journey understand what they're going through, finding the right information. I'm sending you a lot of love and light. Bye.